Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing on this fine night? Or better yet, what you doing on this Friday night?
I don't know what you doing.
What am I doing? Well, I was making affirmation posters
Hmm.
for the center here for other people's rooms so they would like never get up, you can never give up, you can do it. Um you've got this, things like that, you know. One of the workers employed me to make some for everybody. So that's what I'm doing.
I gotcha.
Let's just say it's fun with construction paper and markers and leave it at that.
Ah,
Hey Gregory, what you doing on this Friday night? I am waiting for the Vault of Nightmares and Chris Cat to go live with their question and answer live stream tonight. Cannot wait. I always love their live streams when they do things like that together. So cannot wait. And maybe around this weekend sometime, maybe we'll see a little truth and bass hopefully thrown in. And soon, maybe a little chaos. Hmm, I don't know. Chaos has been a little MIA lately.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's about time he comes out of the bushes and back to civilization.
I'm kind of poking and prodding him in my own way, try to get him back to making content because he was good at making content.
Hey, Big Cole, what you doing on this Friday night? Probably the same as all of us, just chilling as always, waiting for all the other streams to pop off.
Yep.
Well, I'm good to go. I've had my meds. I've got me a glass of iced sweet tea. I'm good and feeling fine. Roth,
Yep.
I've got a question for you. You know, we've done these two past video live streams of dragons, demons, and daemons, right?
Yes.
And I told you I had this little issue. Hold on just a second. Okay. I had this little issue going on with my room. I told you it's acting a little crazy lately.
Hmm.
I was told that somebody has sent a demon to attack me.
Well, uh,
Now, you're the seer. You're
hmm
you're the know-all. And I trust you when it comes to things you say
hmm
because I would have never asked you to be my co-host if I didn't. So, do you think there's a demon after me or attached to me?
there is a spirit of my doing that is hanging around and making
Mhm.
sure things are going okay, but he hasn't seen anything going on that is particularly demonic.
See,
Uh,
I always thought if something was demonic, you would be able to tell it. You would be able to differentiate it between a spirit, a demon, a dragon, an elemental, a, you name it, right?
yeah.
I always thought though you would be able to tell the difference in just the vibe it gives off, the juju that you can feel. So me myself, I don't know if there's one or not. I've talked to a couple of people, you included, about this topic and about this room. Well, guess what happened to me today?
Oh.
My speech therapist come back off her trip and she was on a little mini vacay, you know. She come back off her trip and I told her, I said, lady, you still owe me a Bigfoot story and you owe me the story about the haunted rooms at this facility. And she tells me, yes, I sure do. Well, I see her later on that afternoon in my room. She comes and visits me and she's showing me all the pictures of her vacation. And we got to talking and she tells me her Bigfoot story. And I will tell y'all this later on, not tonight, but in a future video. And I will tell you the story of the haunted rooms in a future video. I want to get all the details about that one. Um, However, I tell her, you know, she sits down beside my bed and I tell her, be careful, my bed needs Jesus. because I firmly believe this bed needs an exorcism or to be put out of its misery one. There's something wrong with this bed. The footboard will fall off at random. The head slams down. Like hell, I was just hanging off the side of the bed upside down with no legs just in and had to get rescued. I mean, come on. Something is going on with this bed. It is determined to, make me croak or make me change beds. I cannot figure out which one, but somebody mentioned to me earlier today, way earlier today, that I shouldn't have anything going on because it was a demon and they took care of it. I hate to tell you this, but I'm still having issues.
Yeah,
I think it's somebody that was here. Hey, Miss Carol, what you doing on this Friday night? Big Hole, I love it when you're always in chat. Big Hole makes the chat. But I think there's a haunting here in this room. I,
there.
I, I really do. What do you think, Roth?
I have heard of countless stories. I think everyone here has heard of like stories about a hospital wing that is completely haunted that no one really goes into, or about rooms that a lot of activity happen in. And I think it happens everywhere with hospitals, because hospitals are a place that witness a lot
Hmm.
of births and a lot
Hmm.
of passings. So it would not be surprising at all for there to be some kind of residual or active activity going on in any given hospital, just because of just um, how many vibes go there, both positive and negative.
Yeah. Well, this isn't my first. In this hospital that I'm at, I will next month have been here for a total of 60 days. And then hopefully I get to go home finally. Well, it's kind of like a place that you live in for an allotted amount of time to heal and do rehabilitation. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I missed my roommate, but I thoroughly enjoyed it here. Nice people. It's homey feeling, except for my room. My room feels, I don't know. It doesn't feel homey. It just feels odd. You can get comfortable here, but it still feels odd, like you're always looking around. And here's the problem. I asked, there's two wardrobes in here, and both of them were on my side of the room, but one of them was actually, for the person that stays here with me. And I told my physical therapist, I said, I wish that wardrobe was moved on their side of the room. That way my stuff wouldn't be split up into two no more, because nobody ever knows which one is mine anyway. And she goes, oh, I can move that. And Woman of Steel, mind you, picks up and moves this wardrobe all the way across the room. But when she moves it, we find a mirror hidden behind it. Somebody had purposely moved that wardrobe to hide that mirror, because these are like, what do you call them, cookie cutter rooms, where
Mm,
every room looks exactly the same and has the same material in there, the same furniture in there, and the same placement.
yeah, another word for it is prefabricated or prefab.
Exactly. And the only thing different about every room, maybe the curtains. If they're facing outside, the curtains are maybe different. That's it. You both have the same type of wardrobes in every room, same little dressers, same TVs. They're all flat screen, smart TVs, I do believe. You'll have a clock on the wall, two beds, two bedside tables, and two chairs. And then you have a restroom in here as well. But that's that's an unmentionable. But yeah, we found this mirror hidden behind this wardrobe. And it's been moved for just a couple days now. Since it's been moved, I can be sitting here in my bed, but it only happens at night. I can be sitting in my bed watching TV or doing an activity playing on my phone, talking to you or talking to my good friend Barry. And next thing I know, out of the corner of my eye, I will see something go across the mirror. And I will be thinking like a nurse or something, or an aide or a CNA, is coming in the room
Hmm.
to check on me. The door will be closed. There is nobody else in the room but me. But yet I see this, it's almost like a shadow. It doesn't fully form a form, but you could tell it would have been a human in a sense. That's just the vibe you get off of it. And it literally looks like a shadow that goes across the bottom half of the mirror. As Kara said, it sounds like they were hiding a portal. You know what? Very well could have been. Because, says Lakaya, when someone sends help, it's always met with opposition. Hey, Chica, what you doing on this Friday night? Because that's what it is. We want to know what you doing. But yeah, I swear there is something in this room. I don't know if it's like as Carol said, a portal, or if it's just spirits passing through from the facility that may have because in this facility there are older people with way worse wounds than I have
Hmm.
as well. And sometimes they just don't make it, you know.
Yeah.
And
Well, let me try to figure out if I can say things that either you already know about mirrors or that you may not know about mirrors. But uh, a lot of certain practitioners will use mirrors for their crafts. A lot of
mhm.
mirrors are also used by spirits to get into places or get out of places. So my first questions would be: was that mirror ever facing a window?
No, it faces the bathroom in a sense, which I find it weird where the placement is of it.
Hmm.
Instead of it being like in between the two halves of the room, it's way over on my side. It's weird. I'll have to take a picture and send it to you tomorrow. It's
Okay.
it's really weird. And the placement, you got to remember, most people that where I'm at are in wheelchairs. The mirror is higher than what a person in a wheelchair could see in. That's what me and my physical therapist were talking about. She's like, why is this mirror so high? She said, everybody in almost every room here is in a wheelchair of some sorts, and they can't see in that mirror.
Mhm.
So
Now,
why is it up so high?
I'm going to go just a little bit left and tinfoil hat about this. And
Oh, hold on. Hey, Miss Joanne. What you
hello.
doing tonight? Had to say hey to her. She snuck in on us.
Uh, yeah. And I do agree with what people are saying in chat that port mirrors can be used as portals, and you can also use a mirror for scrying. I personally have been taught how to use a mirror to as more or less a shield that will
Mm-hmm.
take whatever spell is coming at you and then reflect it back at them,
Reflected
sometimes
on.
at a
Yes.
stronger power than what they sent at you.
Yes. I have had that happen to where um I was working at the metaphysical store, and we were having somebody that was jealous do spell after spell after spell on the people that worked at the store and the people that visited the store and the store itself. So literally what me and the coworker did, well, it was three of us. It was me, a coworker, and the boss, right?
Hmm.
Well, what we did is we gathered this really big mirror that we had used in the tarot room,
Yeah.
and I took it, we spelled it, and then we put it above the front door facing outwards because it's all glass,
Hmm.
facing outwards, so whatever they sent to the store would be reflected. And hey, Dizzle, hey, Holly, how are y'all doing? But And so I've actually done that before. I
Yeah.
have also, in my not so nice heyday, have done a banishment with a box of mirrors
Yeah,
and
boxes
a
of
black
mirrors can be
coffin.
used for a lot of stuff, and a lot of them, who depends what
Yeah.
you're doing it for. But what I want to say though about the placement of the mirror is maybe a prior patient who was staying at that room before the mirror was hidden. Maybe that one
Mhm.
particular patient had the mirror to look inside of the bathroom because maybe what was going on with them spiritually, like whatever was hanging around, was in the bathroom and not in the main room. So they were using that mirror to know if it was safe to go into their bathroom because something was going on in the bathroom. Because the bathroom also, most bathrooms, especially in hospitals, have mirrors as well. And the mirrors in the bathrooms are larger.
Mhm.
And I even have a friend who had a dark spirit that was stuck in the mirror in their bathroom. Again, anytime you would go in there with the light off, you didn't even have to look at the mirror directly to know that there was something just in that mirror looking at you, because it would be showing itself, and as much as that mirror would allow it to show.
Hold on just a second. My audio just totally almost went out. Like I can barely hear you, but it's
Mm-hmm.
because my phone just did something crazy and my sound settings have went hokey pokey haywire. So if I ask you to repeat something, it's gonna be because because I'm having issues with sound. Hold on just a second. I am having to do something.
Okay, but and
My sister-in-law, but she's still my sister.
mhm,
She's trying to find us and she can't find us. Hold on, let me see maybe if I can.
okay, but
I'm
yeah,
trying to. How can I get her? Dang it! I don't. Hold on, just keep talking, Ross.
okay, but yeah, as I was saying, I'm not going to say that is what happened. That is merely just one guess, and that's all it is just a guess because I am not there to investigate the room or investigate the history of the room. So I'm only going off of what my gut is telling me. Um, but I can definitely imagine that in most hospitals there is some kind of activity going on in some form or another. Some is some is more benign, um,
Hmm.
or neutral than others, and some are more malevolent than others. It all just depends on what happens to cause that buildup of energy, to build up that kind of juju going on, and what could be going on. Because sometimes just a place will be a certain wavelength until someone goes in there and changes it, and it'll just change how things are acting around it. And then when that person leaves, it goes back to whatever it was, or it may stay that way. It all just depends.
Hmm. I seriously think there's a haunting here in my room. I really do. Here's another thing I haven't mentioned. Hey sis. Hey there, y'all. There's my sis in chat. Lisa is my sister.
Yeah, hello
So y'all
everyone.
sure to be welcoming to her. She finally made it over here. Holly said you could ask the nurse to hang something over the mirror. Yes, I could. I could actually slide my wardrobe down back over the mirror so it would be back covered. Um, so I may do that. But here's the thing y'all may not know about me. Back in mine involved heyday, when we were younger and we had only one child and I was pregnant with our second, we actually lived in an old hospital. And I know that sounds weird, but it was one of those hospitals to where it looks like almost like a house, but it wasn't. It was a hospital. And me and Paul lived in there with our child. And above us right above, we were on the bottom floor. Above us upstairs was actually, hey, Truth, what's up, brother? What you doing tonight on Friday night? But anyway, above us was what was considered the nursery. And at night, when I would go to put our oldest son to sleep, and like I said, he wasn't even a year old then.
Mm-hmm.
No, what am I talking about, a year old? He was like 4 years old. And when I went to put him to sleep, he would go to sleep. I would crack the door, go into the living room, sit down to watch TV with Walt. And then as the hours drifted by, you could start to hear babies crying.
Ah,
Literally hear babies crying.
uh,
And the next day, like, we would go upstairs because the upstairs room that was above us, like I said, used to be a nursery many, many, many years ago, but it was unlocked. Like, you could walk straight through it. And so we would go up there and look around, and there would be nobody up there. There was us and two more couples that lived in two other places in this hospital, and it was just us. And it still had the original morgue underneath the hospital, where you drove up the driveway and you would see a door on the side of the embankment, and that's how they went in and out of the morgue. Now, that place was super, super haunted. I'm talking about haunted, where we didn't live there very long. Like, that was kind of like what I call a pit stop between figuring out where we wanted to go next. So it was
mm-hmm.
like a pit stop apartment basically. But
Yeah,
it was haunted like you wouldn't believe.
yeah,
And
no, that.
even the other two couples um would come to us and say, "Did y'all hear that last night? Did y'all hear the door slam? Did you hear the people talking?" And one night we kept hearing people talking, and we thought it was the people right across the hall from us,
Mm-hmm.
just hanging out in the hallway. And you couldn't see out in the hallway. You had to actually open the door to look in the hallway. There were no like peepholes in this place because, like I said, it used to be a hospital many, many, many years ago. I'm talking like 1800s to early 1900s hospital.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that old type of hospital. Like I said,
Yeah.
it looked like a mansion, basically, is what it looked like. But they had turned sections of it into apartments. And like I said, we were hearing talking one night in the hallway, and I heard them open their door thinking they were going in, and I was going to tell them good night, and so was Walt. So we opened the door and realized they opened the door at the same time we opened ours, and nobody was talking in the hallway. They wasn't in the hallway though. They had been in their apartment hearing the same thing we had been hearing. So the guy at the other apartment goes down the hallway one way. Vault goes up the hallway the other way. One looks around back, one looks around front. We can't find nobody nowhere.
Hmm.
But literally, you could hear people talking, carrying on a full blown conversation. Sounds like it was in like an urgent matter. It wasn't like just a simple, "Hey, how are you today? How was your day, hon?" It wasn't like that. It was more like, stat, quick, 1, 2, 3, let's go. Move them there, move them there. It was that type. You could tell it was like an urgent talk, which basically in hospitals, if you have people coming in that are sick or dying or something's wrong with them, emergencies, you would have that urgent type of talk.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, we didn't stay in that place for very long, only a couple months, and then we moved out and moved away. It
Yeah.
was it was pretty gnarly having just like I said, door slam, baby screaming and crying. Um, and there was another room on the other side of the nursery upstairs that you could walk through. It was unlocked, and it literally looked like there was an old setup for an old feather bed up there, and an antique dresser was in there, and it was really weird. and it literally looked like maybe a couple nurses have stayed up there, got them some shut eye while working at the hospital. Like, it was crazy. But it got so dilapidated that eventually they had to tear it down a couple of years ago. And I wish they hadn't. But I'll tell y'all what, there's a picture of it, I think, somewhere online. I will try to find that picture again. And if I can, I will post it on my community tab if I can find it. Now, right beside it also used to be a hospital. They went from one hospital and then turning the next place into a hospital, but it ended up being nothing but apartments. I'm talking about, and it was several layers tall, and it was pretty popular back in its heyday as well. And now last time I visited the town that I'm from,
Hmm.
there was only one guy living at the place, and he was supposed to be remodeling it. And it was just him, and as far as I know, he never got through remodeling the first room. So
That.
I don't know what happened to that one. I never lived there in that one, so I don't really know the stories much about it.
Mm,
But the one that we stayed in, y'all, I'm telling y'all, was haunted as haunted could be.
yeah.
Carol says maybe it was a hospital during the Civil War. Very well could be, or could have been, excuse me. Very well could have been. Let me take a
Hmm.
sip of my iced sweet tea real quick. My throat is parched.
Yeah. While you were saying that, though, yeah, when you talked about the hearing those infant cries, that made me even my spine shudder. That spooks me. Uh, um, if you're ever in a really haunted area or a haunted place and you hear infants crying, that is usually a very dark spirit trying to find some kind of victim for haunting or yeah, whatever the hell
Mm-hmm.
they're doing it for. Because infants don't if an infant passes, they don't stick around uh, at all.
Absolutely. Hey, Vamp. Hey, Melissa. What you doing tonight on this Friday night? We're up here just shooting the shit and talking about haunted things right now. But yes, Rod, I was told by my grandmother when I was little as well that if you ever hear a baby crying and you pretty much know it's not a baby there,
Mm,
somebody hadn't set their baby down, or it's not where it's supposed to be, or something like that. She always told me never ever go to it, never ever disturb it. Because she told me it is not a baby, it is something dark and sinister.
yep, yep. I completely agree with that. Hello, Chaos. Hello, Vamp. How
Hello,
you guys
Chaos,
doing?
brother dear.
Yeah, we're just chewing the fat, just talking random stuff, whatever comes up. And right now talking about how there's like some of the haunted places that Lakay has been in, and some of the weird stuff going on in the hospital or the rehab center that she's currently in.
Oh, or like my sis said, Lisa, she said, or a woman wailing, which is absolutely correct. It could be a siren or a banshee,
Hmm.
but or what is it, Vamp? I can never pronounce it. Laura Lorena, La Lorraine. Type it in chat, Vamp, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where she supposedly had drowned her kids and went wailing for them and looking for her children. That Vamp told me the story a long time ago before I'd ever even heard about it. And
I know that's in Latin
yes,
American
and
culture.
it gave me the just that's it. Thank you, hon. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Vamp. It just gives me chills hearing, about it, because I've heard different versions, of course,
Hmm.
but just hearing about it, that just gave me chills all over again just saying it, or at least attempting to say it.
Hmm.
I think there's certain stories and certain hauntings like that just really, it sticks with you. You tend to remember them the most. And that's one that I tend to remember. But however, I digress. I'm telling y'all, this place needs Jesus, an exorcism, and probably a bath.
Yeah. um, when it comes to exercising or cleansing as large a property as like a hospital,
Mm-hmm.
um, what how I know it to be done anyway, and I know this is not how every practitioner group does this, but how I know it to be is that you first have a group of people, at least 10 people, set up at certain points in a circle around the entire property, around the
Mm-hmm.
main structure of the building, and then you basically set up a barrier so that way nothing else can go in. The things can only go out, and they can only go out to wherever they were originally meant to be,
Yeah.
or to their original realm of origin. And then after that, they more or less go in and then room to room, cleanse it, sage it, smudge it, brush it, whatever they need to do to cleanse it in. But the main thing they do first is, because it's such a large property, they make a border line, a fence line basically, that prevents anything else from going in. Just because you may have cleansed that room now, but who's to say that something else could just, okay, I'm going to go outside of the property and then go right back in after you're done with it.
Yeah.
So it's not a thing that's necessarily needed on every property, but with big properties like that, there's enough wiggle room for a haunting spirit to go out of wherever you're cleansing it from, and then go back in later on, or go into an adjacent area that's the same property.
Hey, Carla, what you doing on this Friday night? But yeah, Roth, I read a thing earlier. It was like a little meme or something,
Hmm.
and it said basically talking about all those people that are staging their homes with their windows closed, trying to get the evil out. Well, gee, they have nowhere to go if you're staging with everything closed. I was always taught to open windows and doors. That way, it doesn't stay with you and it leaves. Goes whether it goes back to sender where it came from, it doesn't matter. It leaves.
Yep. Cause when it comes to like the classic salting a solid outline around something, usually it's to keep something uh for in. But you can also you can also channel it. You can also will it to do the opposite, so everything capes out, and that's more or less what I'm thinking of. Making it like you can't go this way past this border, but you can go the other way. So that's why when you make these kinds of borders around these large properties, you make it to where they can get out. They can get out of the place, out of the property that you're trying to get them out of.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't come back in.
Yeah. My thing is where I'm at, I'm kind of like, I can, yes, Carla, you didn't catch us live. Sorry you were so busy today, but we and Ross are glad you're here. But yeah, where I'm at, I can't really do anything but in my room. That's the problem. I can't really go out and create like a sacred circle of salt and blah, blah, blah. Like I can do it in my room. Believe me, I've already done that. I totally salted my roommate's area for the next roommate in my area and created a sacred space. But let me tell you,
Mm.
something's still in here because this bed needs Jesus.
Yeah. Carol Edwards asked, "What about hanging a cross over the mirror?" You would want to hang a cross that has been charged, more or less, with prayer, with power, with
Mm-hmm.
magic, because a lot of the times, even though it's a sacred symbol is a sacred symbol, at least on this side of the veil, if you don't charge it, if you don't put meaning behind it, it's just a lump of wood or a lump of brass, a lump of whatever material you made it out of, just in that shape of a sacred symbol. Uh,
Absolutely. Big Hole said windows and doors need prepared beforehand. So it's an exit and not an invite in. And
yep,
I
yep.
absolutely agree. Bam, this bed does need Jesus. And it's Jesus and an exorcism and a bath. I'm telling you. This bed, I'm telling y'all, something is wrong with this sucker. It tries to like eat me whole. I'm telling y'all. I told the nurses this bed is crazy. And y'all, I literally just, I swear to God, hand to God, just heard something like a body moving on the roommate's bed, and I don't even have a roommate. That was crazy when I said that. And then I heard movement. Oh, that's crazy. Y'all, I'm freaking myself out over here.
Yeah.
Good grief. You mean your bed? What happened? Carla, I'm at a rehabilitation center because I'm having to heal the wounds that are left from them amputating both of my legs. Hey, Stacy, what you doing on this Friday night? But yeah, I I'm telling y'all this bed will eat you alive. The remote always falls off that controls the bed, and I was trying to reach it earlier, and I ended up like upside down with my two stump now sticking up in the air when my nurse come in, and I'm hanging half off the bed. Y'all know I ain't supposed to be doing these acrobatic tricks because you know that I'm only allowed to do certain things with them present because I don't know what I'm doing, like using the board to get in the wheelchair and all that stuff. So like I just do what I do, and then they come in fussing. They're like, you know, you're not supposed to do that. And I'm like, well, just because I'm not supposed to, don't mean I won't.
Hmm.
So, um,
But no,
yeah,
I honestly feel like the reason why it hasn't done much more is because of all the prayers that everyone's been giving you, the protection, healing, and all that. And
yes,
plus, uh, I don't know if I'm the only one that sent spirits out to keep a watch over you, keep make sure everything's all right. But I have a feeling that if anything does try, it'll be basically be kicking, screaming, getting pulled out in a headlock by a bunch of
yeah.
helper spirits.
Well, if anybody would be called knocking on death's door, I would have to say and raise my hand and say that probably was me. What a lot of people don't know about my backstory is that yes, Miss Carol, they did both of them. Um, they amputated them above my knees, so I have little stubs right now, and I'm having to have them dressed every other day by my wound care nurse, and he is awesome. And I have a wound vac on one of my stumps right now. Um, but yes, I uh I almost died, and if it wasn't for all of the prayers that I had, and if it wasn't for Vault standing up for me, telling them to do whatever it takes for them to save me, this is their surgery one, that I would have died. Well, I made it. I had horrible screaming pains for a week. No meds would work. And then I had to lose my second leg, my left one. So they went back in again in the surgery. And same thing happened. They didn't think I was going to make it out. I told my parents, told Vault, told Vault to tell my kids. It was horrible. And then I made it out of there. And Vault was actually told. They put me on what's called the 30-day list, basically. I'm not going to survive the first 30 days out of surgery. And guess what, you guys? I did. And if
Yeah,
it wasn't for all of y'all's prayers and positivity and candles and blessings and well wishes, and Vault being in my corner, and my parents and my sisters fighting for me, I wouldn't be here. And then after I've gotten out, my sisters, my biological sister and my other two sisters, have been my knights in shining armor. They have surpassed anything that I've ever doubted of them. They have risen to the challenge. They have helped me so much. So I consider myself blessed. When I'm in pain or when I see another elderly person that's got an amputation and they roll by my room, they'll stop and wave and say hello. And they'll say, "How are you?" And then they notice I'm amputated, but I'm still healing. My wounds are worse than theirs, to be honest, because of the way they had to do my surgeries. And it was very almost butchered, but not. And it was just that's just the way they had to do it because the way the clots were. And they tried to save my legs with stents, but it didn't work. It didn't take. But the people that will stop in the hallway when once they notice I'm amputated, they literally look at me and tell me, "Hey, I know how you feel. I know what you're going through." And I'm looking at them like, "What?" And this is before I realized they're amputated. Then they lift their pants leg up or something and show me their prosthesis. I'm like, "Oh, okay, I got you." And I'm like, "So we're we're part of the group." So, but yeah, it's been rough and it's been hard, but the healing is on the way. I hope I'm not hurting like I have been. And like I said, I've just been more focusing on writing positive affirmations, and I've changed a lot of my life around. I don't sweat the small stuff anymore. I try to be positive to everybody, regardless. I try to be positive. I try to see their side of things. I try to be the compromise or the middle ground. I'm like totally, totally different than what I used to be. Hence why I decided to ask Ross to be a co-host and to change the title of this channel because without my without y'all's prayers and without my sisters and without my family, and that involves Chris Cat, Vault, Cobra, Lethal, Autumn, and my parents, I'm telling y'all, I would be a lost puppy dog. I wouldn't even be here, to be honest. But I am. And for those that still pray for me or send me emails of love or Facebook Messenger notes and stuff, I read every one of them and I'm very thankful. I'm sorry if I have not replied to you. So that doesn't mean I haven't read what you've sent. Now, Roth,
Yep.
do you have anything in your house or location that's haunted?
Technically speaking, every single house I have lived in has been haunted, either because it was there prior or it was, well, because of me.
Well, that's what I was
Because
going to ask you. Do you think it was because of you? Because you are such a how do I put it? You're like a magnet, and you're like not only a magnet of attraction of beings and entities, but of knowledge as well. So I was just wondering, like, do they bother you? Like, if they come pass through your room or something, do you notice them, and does it bother you that they do that?
I used to notice them a lot more in my teenage years when I was still figuring this stuff out. Because when you are an old soul and you have to restart all your memories from your prior selves in a new body that has not had the same experiences that you have,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you have to rediscover everything. You have to rediscover who you are, what languages you know, what things you have been through prior to this, because otherwise you just get this odd feeling of there's a lot wrong here that I feel like I'm forgetting that I know I should remember. Um,
Hmm.
and nowadays I barely even notice because I guess you could say my sensory perceptions have kind of changed.
Yeah.
They're not picking up every single blip on my radar. They're just picking up the blips that I need to know about. Because otherwise, I have help that are spirits around that are always around that they also help out.
But do you ever become like overloaded, like sensory overload with like the spirit realm?
I would say yes. But
Mhm.
for me, the spirit realm is the real world to me. The other side is
Yeah.
the real world to me. This world is transitory. Um, and so there are times when everything just kind of gets to be too much. And I think it's because I'm just I let myself go full blast, opening my third eye, all of my spiritual senses, full bore all the time. I think there are times it just sometimes gets to be too much, and I just have to uh, decompress and just kind of focus on what's immediately around me rather than everything that I usually focus on.
Mhm.
So I will never say no. It doesn't ever. I will never say no. It doesn't ever bother me. I'm going to say yeah. It probably does sometimes bother me, and it does sometimes just need to be cooled down every once in a while because
Yeah.
because I will safely say I think I get like migraines every once in a while just because of how much I'm focusing in and allowing things to just peek out on what I'm doing.
Now, I know you have empathic tendencies, as do I. Does that ever interfere with what you're trying to do, your workings or anything like that?
It does, especially if I'm around people with a lot of conflict in their own lives, or if there's a lot of just conflicting emotions going on in an area. And I only had recently, in the past few years, learned how to siphon out
Mhm.
certain things going in and out. But for a long time, it was very raw. I felt everything going on around me emotionally, and it was a pain in the ass to be quite
Oh
frank.
gosh, I imagine.
So nowadays, yeah, I'm trying to. I think I have a bit of a handle on how I feel other people's emotions and whatnot.
Mhm.
I just still know that I have my limits on how much I can feel, and also how much I can even hold back. Just because I I've always been put in and fated as someone who learns things deep in first. I never get to wade in. I never get to tiptoe into anything. It's always just head first, deep end at the bottom. And
Yeah.
it's not an easy way. Sometimes I get
Mm,
overwhelmed a lot.
yeah, I can imagine being you that you would be overwhelmed. Like I know I get overwhelmed at the smallest stuff. Like if there's more than 30 cars in the Walmart parking lot Supercenter, I'm not going in because all of the energy off everybody, mm-mm, I know I can't handle it. At least
Mm,
not now. Like that's just you won't see me at no Black Friday sales. Nope. Not unless I'm doing them, online. Mm-mm. No, thank you. I'll
yeah,
take the car in the parking lot for 200, Alex.
I my last job was at Walmart, and I worked probably two Black Fridays,
Hmm.
and that it doesn't you don't ever forget it.
No, I've seen my fair share of Black Friday reels, and I'm telling you, people will grab baseball bats and go after each other. It's crazy.
Luckily, I never had to go through stuff like that. I never had anyone attacking each other or anything like that. I just had overly aggressive shoppers.
Ooh, Vamp said Cyber Monday.
Hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Order your shit online, people. Skip the stores. But no, I don't think I will ever attend a Black Friday again. Just for the simple fact of, I'd be liable to run over people in my wheelchair.
Uh, I currently speaking, I don't do big crowds, and I don't like being in big cities. So
Mm-hmm.
being in like a bright Black Friday like that, where people are almost literally cart to cart or back to back, it would not do me well. Because
I understand.
I do have anxiety, and that kind of anxiety does not help when I'm in a that cramped a place with that many people who are trying to get their items in as fast as possible. Well, probably I think everyone here has who's been to a Black Friday sale as a shopper probably bickered a bit inside their own heads about why the hell there are so many people here? Why can't I just get my one I need and go? You know,
Mhm.
why are the door greeters asking for my receipt to make sure that I'm not stealing anything?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like for me, if I'm gonna do Black Friday shopping, it's gonna be online, and I
That's me, and I'm with Vamp Cyber Monday because I mean, you know, standing in line wait used to be standing in line waiting till they unlock the doors, and then everybody runs in everywhere and grabs everything in the buggy. I mean, that's the way Black Friday used to be. I don't know if that's the way they still do it, but it used to be done like that, especially here in the South. And people were going ape shit crazy over things, especially like electronics. Like you would have to grab these tickets, and then you would have to take the ticket, go through the line, give them the ticket, and then they would bring out your TV because they kept them all at the back. They wouldn't bring them out to the floor.
yeah.
And oh my gosh, it created the worst fight ever. A lady went into the sports section, grabbed a baseball bat, and come back and was whooping the lady in front of her. It was crazy. I had my
Mhm.
son asleep in the buggy, and I turned around, I looked about us, and I'm gone. I don't need a TV that bad.
Yeah. And to comment on what Melissa commented, yeah, there are people who the veil is naturally thinner. I think I naturally had it thinner, but I also intentionally make it thinner because I don't like the veil. That's a public opinion of mine. I don't like the veil.
Yeah. My sister says, I'm glad that the stores are closed on Thanksgiving. Oh, could you imagine? Good
Uh,
grief.
I know that nowadays, at least here in my state, they will
Mm-hmm.
start their Black Friday shopping on Thanksgiving after a certain point where we call it Gray Thursday. And then they
Oh,
also do the
wow.
Black Friday, but the Black Friday shopping starts on Thanksgiving Day, which sucks because it makes people rush through a Thanksgiving lunch and then they go Black Friday shopping the same day when what people really want is for Black Friday shopping to start like what 5 o'clock a.m. on the Black Friday
Mm-hmm.
day itself, rather than having to do some nonsense of okay, we're here at Thanksgiving, we're here visiting our families, celebrating our holiday, and then on that same day they'll go okay, well we're done eating our lunch, but so now we have to hurry to the stores to start our Black Friday shopping, and it causes a lot of people to get a little a little hurt at how stores are doing that Black Friday now because we'd much rather be spending the holidays with our families, with our loved ones, doing what we love to do rather than having to beat crowds for shopping for stuff for a later holiday.
Carol said she has some photos she's going to email me to forward to you, Roth.
Okay.
So I will forward them to you as soon as I receive them.
Yeah, I will
And
definitely go look at them.
my sister says all Walmarts will be closed on Thursday this year. My son works at Walmart.
That is awesome. Like as someone who used to work at Walmart, we'd love having those holidays off because it's not fun having to work on certain holidays uh, because you want to be with
Chaos said,
family.
"Oh, Black Friday, I'm in full-on turkey coma."
Yeah, yeah, I can fully agree with that. I like dark meat when it comes to turkey. I don't like white meat. I like dark meat. I also
You
like
know what?
skin.
I totally stand with you on that, Roth, because the white meat always tends to be so dry.
Like for me, meat, if it's not a jerky, needs to have some uh tenderness and some moisture
Hmm.
to it, so it's
Yeah,
not completely dry no matter what meat it is. I just don't like dry meat.
I'm with you on that.
But except for unless you're talking about beef jerky. Beef jerky is fine, you know.
Vamp, I don't blame you for walking out and quitting. That's crazy. Now, see, Joanne, I like that. order your Black Friday online, then go up to the store and pick it up
Mm-hmm.
at there. Because I know the Walmart that I was going to before all this leg stuff happened. Um, which is more like an hour away from me now, but it was like 20 minutes away from me earlier. And the way they do things, you know, they have a section that if you order something online, you go to the side of the building, pull in a parking spot, a guy will come to you, ask you, your order number, you give it to them, and they go get your shit. Ooh, Lisa bases her turkey every 30 minutes so that her turkey won't be dry. Okay, well, I will be eating your turkey. Thank you. Because I love a non-dry turkey. Because I've had some turkey, not Vault's. Now Vault can cook a mean turkey, but that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about other people's. I've had other people's turkeys that were so dry, like you swear to God, you thought you were eating like sand.
Yeah,
It was
I've had those too.
horrible.
You have to put sauce on them to put uh any
You
kind
know
of
what I
real.
would do? I would
Hmm.
pour barbecue sauce all over them. I did.
I like to dip them in barbecue sauce or the Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. That has been, I think, one of the best barbecue sauces that's been out for that kind of stuff or any kind of barbecue sauce needs.
Vamp, you so silly, girl. I'm not gonna repeat it, but I'm gonna put it on the screen so everybody can see it. Oh Lord,
Ah,
I love Vamp. Oh, she's so funny. I
I
love
guess
her. That's my
speaking
that's
of,
my
okay,
girl.
all right, speaking of dark, this is going to go left. Who here else, other than just myself and a few others, goes with dark theme on your apps, on your computers, on your phones, and whatnot for like certain sites like YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot? Because I do not understand why anyone would use the light theme for any apps or programs because I'm up usually at night and it dark theme is just better for my eyes and it just feels better. Uh, so I just kind of wonder who here wants who else here uses the dark theme on your computer apps or phone apps or who uses light themes and what are your reasons why?
Hi, Auntie Venom. What are you doing on this Friday night? What you doing?
Hello, hello.
I know most of my day nurses, got off today at 2 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked them. I said, "What are y'all doing this weekend?" They looked at me and they said, "You don't want to know." I said, "Y'all going and partying, ain't you?" And they smiled and shook their head, yeah. And I was like, "Now, see, damn it, I can't go. That's not fair." They was like, "Look, we would take you if you didn't have a hose hooked up to you." I was like, "Yeah, that's true."
Mm-hmm. Uh, I've never been the type to have like those kinds of big parties. For me, the parties have always been just me and a few friends just hanging out,
Yeah.
playing video games, watching movies, whatnot. I've never been like the big party kind of guy.
Well, they were supposed to be having this humongous party where you're supposed to dress up as your favorite. Like if you have a boyfriend, fiance, or husband, or whatever, your significant other. Let me put it that way. You were supposed to dress up as your significant other's favorite football team. And one of my favorite nurses was going as the Steelers. I told her, I said, "No, ma'am." I said, "It's Saints or Cowboys for me. Sorry."
Uh, I've never been one for American football. Uh, and I like to say American football because I also call soccer as football because it was called football before before American football became uh, football.
Mm-hmm.
But I was mostly just kind of liking just the designs of the logos more than anything else. So for me, it was started out as Chicago Bears to Cincinnati Bengals, the Jaguars. Uh, it, uh,
Yeah.
for me, like the the sport itself wasn't always as interesting to me as say that just the animal that they have instead.
Yeah, because I actually like the Ravens too. And that's
Hmm.
only because of the bird.
Yeah, Chaos, my lightsaber's red too. Don't worry.
You know, I was just fixing to ask him about his red lightsaber.
Yeah, is it just a standard store bought one, or did you go to one of those sites like oh god, what's the designer made ones where you can make your own custom that is fully able to spar with, that has like full lights and sounds and all that.
Hey, Chev, hun, love, what you doing on this Friday night? You guys, Chev's been a little under the weather, so y'all send him love in chat.
Hmm.
Chev hasn't been feeling good this week. I know because I sent him love and talked to him, and he wasn't feeling good. So hopefully he's on the mend, and we get our Chev back. But thank you all for joining us tonight. We have been on for a little over an hour,
Yep.
and we have stayed steady at about 18 to 20 people.
Mhm.
Well, I appreciate y'all.
Oh, one thing I do want to say is that
Hmm.
on Lakayas Lovey's Paranormal Facebook group, we have posted a poll on what we could talk about on our next topic show. So if you guys could please visit her Facebook group there and put in your vote to find out what topic we could do next for our next topic show.
And if you haven't joined Lakaya Lovely's Paranormal Group, go look it up on Facebook and request to join.
Hmm.
But we're going to go because I think Vault and Cat later are doing a show, or I don't know who else. And I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I want to watch it too. So, see you guys later. Love, peace, chicken grease.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you for stopping by. Have a good night.